So welcome to the revision video for fashion business in the digital age. This is going to focus particularly on CRM for this one video, and the next part we're going to look at service design, we're going to look at design innovation, and we're going to do a few other bits to help you revise for your exams. So this is going over the key areas which we covered in the lecture series. We're also going to give further clarity to some issues. So over the Christmas break, I've had a few emails, had a few bits on the discussion board, and people asking a few questions. So most of those we're going to be going over to make sure that everyone's completely clear. And these are designed to complement the lecture slides, they're not replacing them. This is not saying you can use this alone. You should definitely use this in conjunction with the other reading and other materials. The format is also going to be a bit different to most lectures because this is me sitting in my office and I'm just talking to you about the slides, and I want you to be able to read them very clearly when you're offline, as these slides are on Blackboard now. So don't expect the standard lecture format, but it's going to be quite similar. So before I go into any details on the revision parts, this is not an indication of what's in the exam. So it's not something you can read saying it's in this video, therefore it's in the exam. There may well be parts in the exam which are not in this video because everyone was very clear on them during the lecture. So they may be in here, they may not be in here. You shouldn't do that. What you should do is you need to revise topics in the unit as well as reading around the subject. So these are the examinable topics: CRM and e-commerce, which is covered in this part of the revision videos. We've got innovation and service design, which is part 2. And we've also got Ian's areas, so ethical, social, political aspects, supplier management, e-business, and strategic aspects. So, thing to remember is that you're being examined on those topics, not on the lectures. So, if, say, in a lecture I covered CRM and service design, such as week 5, that doesn't mean that CRM and service design will be in the same section. It'll be possibly in a different section because different topics. Anyhow, read around the topics, go onto Blackboard, read the materials, watch videos, watch podcasts, read the papers, do everything. Also, these videos are not meant to be exhaustive. They are quite a quick overview. So it's quite possible you'll still have some more questions and some things that aren't quite clear after watching this. So please go on Blackboard and ask questions. You'll probably find that your question has been answered already, but if not, please answer that. I'll be checking it as often as I can, probably every single day during the week, and answering everything as fast as I can. You can obviously email me at christopher.parker@manchester.ac.uk. Please feel free, although discussion boards are better, just because it's actually a bit faster for me to reply. And finally, those are my office hour drop-ins on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Feel free to come into my office and just talk to me about anything you like, ask any questions. You can also email me and say, can I meet you in your office at this time? So this is not the end of it, this video is just one part of it. So, on to the main topics. What we're going to do is we're going to cover or recover what is CRM, the difference between CRM and eCRM, the processes of CRM, and the key frameworks. Now, as I said, these were taught in the lectures, but we're going to go over them and make them very clear. So, firstly, what is CRM? So the basic question is customer relationship management, but there's a bit more to it. So here's the very long-winded but very good working definition that was given in week 8 at the very start, which is a term that refers to practices, strategies and technologies that companies use to manage and analyse customer interactions and data throughout the customer lifecycle, with the goal of improving business relationships with customers, assisting customer retention and driving sales growth. Now, the important part of this is that it's got lots of different bits. So we're not only looking after the customer, we're also understanding the customer. So we're managing and analysing the interactions, so making them happy, understanding what makes them happy, what makes them sad, what makes them frustrated, why they're buying things, where they're buying them, how different groups of people are buying. So we're really understanding everything. So we can use this to target sales. So if we say that we're M&S, and some addresses are bought exclusively by customers under 40, and our really thick woolen dresses are bought by exclusively by women over 40. We're going to target the women under 40 for our dresses. Or you can make lots of examples up. That's a very simple one. So it really is driving what makes a customer happy and making them buy more things. So back to the definition. CRM systems are designed to compile information on customers across different channels. So we collect data from customers, not from one place, but from many different places, from in-store interactions, from competitions maybe, from questionnaires, from analytics on websites, what activity, where they're clicking, what's dropout rate, what's conversion rate, what are they searching for. When they're buying things with their store card, we can track what they're buying, what they're returning, all these parts. Or points of contact between, back to the definition, or points of contact between the customer and the company. So every single time the customer interacts with the customer, the company interacts with the customer, that's potentially something we can manage and potentially a place where we can make the relationship work better. That links to service design, which we'll talk to in the next part. Back to the definition, which could include the company's website, telephone, live chat, direct marketing, mail, social media. So yeah, we can collect at all these places and we can also enhance. Let's give the best social media experience, the best marketing materials, the best customer service, the best in-store experience, the best telephone help, but also let's collect information on them whilst they're doing it. CRM, back to the definition, CRM systems can also give customer-facing staff detailed information on customers' personal information, purchase history, buying preferences and concerns. So gave the example of Burberry 360, where the customer walks into the shop and the sales rep has an iPad. So they know who you are, they can tell all about you, what kind of customer you are, they can make personal recommendations for you, giving a great experience. Also, you could use the iPad to collect data on them. So here we are going into that. So we've got sales automation. So in the store, sales rep supported by arranged data about the customer, as just said, with the iPads. CRM implies the customer service management point, which is the call centres. So you call the call centre and you say, oh, I've got a problem with my order. I've ordered this handbag and it's not the right size, or I'd like to swap it, or whatever it is. The person at the call centre, they've got information about you, what you bought, where you bought it, and they can go, oh yeah, I see you bought that handbag at our Manchester store, no problem at all. I see you're in Liverpool, there's a store over there, why don't you just drop it into there, we'll have a new one ready for you. So you can also manage the sales process through CRM, so having a great e-commerce site. And that's a site which has great usability, really fun to use, easy to use, has lots of the experiential parts that luxury fashion really thrives on. Also has very functional, very easy to use, so you can get to your sales very easily. Your campaign management, use CRM, so you're going to put adverts and emails and direct mail, and maybe Facebook adverts. So who do you target? Where do you target? So we know that this demographic is more likely to respond to buying this product. So we're going to target the channels they use. So young people use Snapchat, so why don't we market through Snapchat for young people? But if you're an old person like me, having Snapchat isn't a great idea because I don't use it. So Facebook's better for me. So yeah, it's strategically directing your marketing. Also the content of the marketing, so what's in there, what are the words, what's the imagery, all these things. And you've got that information because you've looked at the customer things before. Mentioned before, the last part, analysis, so data mining, stats, understanding consumer behaviour. Now, you don't need to know a great deal about this, just know that when you collect numerical data, so stats data, quantitative, you can use statistical analysis packages such as SPSS to analyse them, or SAS. Or if it's qualitative, so words and phrases, use something like in Vivo. So you use software to really tear apart data, find out what's really happening, and let that direct your marketing campaign. I know for a fact that this is the lifeblood of all the financial marketing campaigns. So if you buy insurance, they use CRM enormously to drive their marketing. The benefits of CRM is that it gives you strategic targeting, as mentioned before, because you've analysed data, you find out what really works, who you're targeting and why, so you're not wasting time talking to people who really don't care. So there's no point Snapchatting old guys like me. Spend your time and money Snapchatting young teenagers. You can allow you to customise everything, so the experience that the customer is getting is completely personal to them and people like them. And you can even predict, saying, hey, we don't have this data on you, but based on the rest of your demographics, you're likely to like this. So everything's personalised. The nature of the interaction is much richer, so you've got a greater depth, and every touch point is really, really good and really satisfying. So it's a good service design for part 2. And it's also lower cost, so virtual channels are really cheap, so YouTube is free, for example, but, well, not advertising on YouTube, but having YouTube channels free. But it does minimise costs. So that is a quick overview of what CRM is, and from that you can generate a working definition. The next part we're looking at is the process of CRM. So how is CRM done? We know what it is. How do we do CRM? Now, this was taken from the slides. CRM is not a single tool or process. So there's no one thing that is CRM. CRM is an umbrella term, saying it's anything that is about keeping and managing a good relationship with customers and collecting their data. So you're going to have many different parts of CRM, many things you do in the whole toolkit of CRM. So you can't say do steps 1, 2, 3, 4 and you're done. It's a lot more complex than that, but don't worry, it's okay. So anything that helps manage and improve the relationship you have with the company and customers is CRM. So if you want to create a process out of this and say, right, how would I enact a CRM process in a company? You can say, well, we've got these frameworks, which we'll see in a few seconds, such as customer lifecycle. And we say, right, what are we going to do to engage with the customer, to manage the relationships at each part of this? What can I do with that? So you develop strategic areas. Now you can take the whole company apart and say, right, and this is service design, which is part 2, but we covered this in, I believe, week 5. You've got the customer journey. And the customer walks into the store, they do things in the store, then they walk out, they try clothes on, they go online, they order more things, they post reviews, they talk to their friends, all these little touch points. Some with the company, some without. That's the customer journey. So you can say, right, where in the customer journey are touching the company, and every point is an opportunity to have a good CRM. So you say, right, how does that touch point relate to the framework? What can we do with this framework to enhance that touch point? We will cover more of this in part 2 when we go on to service design, but just give a briefer. So, put the framework in motion. Have a great service design and leverage great innovation. So if you're using a framework, if you're doing great service design, if you're constantly improving the service and experience with the customer, and you're using new technology to understand them better, to give you a competitive edge, to give them better experience, so always the new things, then you're doing a good job at making CRM happen. So you should stop thinking about CRM as a process, more about a happening or a longitudinal, something that evolves over time. On the back of that, there's some questions about what is CRM and eCRM. You see eCRM, electronic CRM, electronic customer relationship management, and traditional customer relationship management. So the short answer is, as far as this unit is concerned, there's no difference. When someone says eCRM, you can just say it's CRM. So, and the reason for that is that CRM, customer relationship management, refers to the whole process of managing the relationship between customers. So principle, practice, company guidelines used whenever the company interacts with its customers. So anything to do with interacting with the customer. Now that could be something like you're a bank and you have, when I walk into HSBC, I get met by a very well-dressed man or woman, and they're wearing the company uniform, and they greet me in a certain way, and they've got an iPad there and information. Now, the way they greet me is a company guideline. There's someone who's thought out that when a customer walks into the bank, we want them to feel this, right? You want to greet them this way, smile in this way, maybe sit them down, offer them a coffee. That is customer relationship management. It's got nothing to do with electronics at all. And if we look back in the 90s, or let's say 80s, that's before the internet really happened, customer relationship management existed as an idea. So we had that. And then in 1992, where Tim Berners-Lee invented what is now known as the internet. So we had electronic CRM really come into fruition, which is internet channels brought into the CRM strategy, providing consistent service to all online channels. So you can see this CRM, eCRM, is a subset of the bigger CRM. So it's the electronic part of CRM. Now that has really grown into a massive area. So at one point when the internet was first brought into online banking, I remember there was a computer in the corner of the bank and you'd meet the sales rep or banker at the desk, wherever it was. They'd greet you in the same way, so that's CRM. And they might say, why don't you go over to our computer over here and we will do online banking together. So that was that. And now, so you'd have the guidelines of how to talk to the customer, how to manage them, have a booklet, have brochures, all that, analog CRM. And then you would then bring in the digital areas. Whereas now the person's there with an iPad, they're talking, it's all online, it's interactive, it's in text messages and WhatsApp and all these other things. So electronics is completely fused with all of the old traditional non-electronic parts. So that's a very quick, long way of saying it's just one. Now, if you're developing a strategy, it's worth thinking about analog parts as well as digital parts, because the analog parts are really important to the experience. You can't forget that. But as we're doing the fashion business in the digital age, really think about the digital parts is quite important. Now, got the example there, back into Burberry 360. You walk into Burberry, sales rep has an iPad, say, hi, how you doing? Let's take customer number, and we just talk through it together. So the E part is completely fused into the experience, and it really is innovative. And the innovativeness is really exciting. And we're going to walk away going, oh, that's really fun. I quite like the fact we have this new technology. So yeah, that is the difference between the two. It's not very much, and increasingly it becomes less. And this is actually exactly what's taken from the lectures. So we are all shifting towards electronic, which is, we had mass marketing. We're now looking at personal marketing or personal recommendations. And that's really where the future is. I can't see it going back to mass marketing at all, and literature can't either. So we've had a look at what CRM is, we've looked at eCRM and looked at what the process of CRM is, or the happening that is CRM. So we're going to look at some of the key frameworks. So to make it happen, you have a framework to think about it, to measure it, to enact it, how to manage it. So the first thing is, when you're doing the marketing, you're evaluating what drives conversions. Why is it that customers are going to buy from our website? What do we do to make it better? What do we do to make them happier? And the old thing is, if you can't measure it, you can't change it. So get some measurement and then analyze it, understand what's happening, keep the good bits, improve the bad bits, and you keep getting better and better and better. So for this to happen, you need to have customer profiling. If you don't profile customers, you can't really do much CRM. You can't enact CRM, and these frameworks can't happen very easily. So you need to know who the person is. Even if you're doing just one interview, you need to know who that person is in the interview. If you think about, you walking on the street, someone stops you and asks you some questions about what you think about Manchester and do you like things. Maybe you've been in the shop and they've said, hi, welcome to Ted Baker. Would you like to answer some questions about what you think about Ted Baker? That one-off interview will have a specific ID for you. if you have a loyalty card, such as Burberry 360, then you've got an individual code, and that goes with you throughout your things, so tracking you for a longer period of time. But either way, you need an ID. Then you need to ask questions either on your Burberry 360 or store card or the one-off interview, which differentiates you from other people. So do you have kids? Do you have a home? What age are you? What's your income? Maybe if you're thinking about fashion as a lifestyle brand, you want to get into what kind of lifestyle they are. So it could be, when you go out, what kind of evening do you go for? If it's me, I'm the kind of guy who go for sushi and then go and see a foreign language film, whereas students prefer to go for burgers or Almost Famous and then go for a club down Deansgate Locks. And that kind of lifestyle will tell you more about the brand differentiation. So it depends what you're trying to do, but you got to find out what makes the person different. Then you've got to find out when and how they interact with the brand. And that can be through questions very specifically, saying, when do you go online? When do you come in store? Or it could be covertly. So you've got a store card. When you make a purchase, it's got your card's given in and they've logged your purchase. You could do a card with an RFID in, and when you walk through the doors with that card, it knows you're there. So that could be measuring interaction. Obviously, your online account. So when you log into the website, when you browse things, when you search for things, when you make a purchase, it's logging your interactions there. So it can be covert or non-covert. And then you've got to think about customization. So what kind of service and solutions can we give you as the individual client? So when maybe if you are running a fashion brand and you're going to sell lots of really beautiful items, so really great shoes, got Jimmy Choo, you're going to have your handbags by Gucci and Chanel, you're going to have dresses, makeup, all these different things. Anyway, we're launching a new range of bags exclusive to us by Vivienne Westwood. So what we want there to do is have lots of people who love bags to come in. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our CRM, find the people, maybe the top 100 or 200 people who really love bags, who buy lots and lots of bags from us, and we're going to send them an email saying, hi, as you're one of our top clients, we want to offer you a 10% discount on our new range of bags because they're so exciting. By the way, this is a good way of looking at Net Promoter Score, which we'll see in a second. So anyway, we're tailoring the offers to that person because there's no point giving a discount to someone who's not actually that bothered. Anyway, so you customise that person. So you collect the information to give them better service at the touch points. You collect the information to know how to sell to them and similar people. But without this information, you can't do CRM. So very important you get this. Now, one model which is very important to think about as a way of framing your thought is the loyalty satisfaction model. That's its name, or if you want to get really technical, the Heskett et al.'s 1994 loyalty satisfaction model. There's the full reference just below there, which is in the Harvard Business Review, and there's a link there which is linked to in the week 8 slides at the start. I will try and put this link in the description of the video, and that will take you to that. So what this model says is that you've got two measures. You can think about people, how satisfied they are and how loyal they are. If they are very satisfied and very loyal, they're going to be evangelists. They're going out there and they're telling people, come to this shop, come to this brand, it's fantastic, you want to be part of this. If you're not satisfied and you're not loyal, then you're a terrorist. You're someone who's going to be going out there and saying, do not come to this brand, do not buy from us, because you're in the zone of defection. Now, this relates very closely to the Net Promoter Score. And at this point, I want to just pause a little bit because I want to apologise. In the slides, there was a picture of a whole load of questions on the Net Promoter Score next slide, and that shouldn't have been there. It was from a previous version, so I made a mistake, and I'm very, very sorry about that. And I really hope that this part really makes up for it. So I'm going to go back over the Net Promoter Score and go into a bit further detail to really dig a bit deeper as a bit of apology. But there's nothing on there which really drove part the actual words the same as here, and they haven't been changed. So talking about Net Promoter Score is still relevant, but let's go a bit deeper. And I believe Ian covered it again later on. So what the Net Promoter Score is, it's a measure, a quantitative measure of the degree to which your customers of your company are advocates, and we'll go back to the previous slide, are they going to be evangelists? So how far along that curved blue line are they? So the higher Net Promoter Score, the higher up that line they are. So it's to what degree will they recommend you? So 3 stages of Net Promoter Score is categorizing your customers into promoters, passives, and detractors, understanding why they are doing what they're doing, and then find ways to make the scores better. So address what the problems are. Remember when I talk about CRM at the start, it's about keeping the things which people really like about the interaction with the company, removing and making better the bits that are wrong, and innovating new ways to make the good bits even better, because as we talked about in the innovation part, people don't know what they like, people don't know what they want, they don't know what's possible. So as Steve Jobs said, we're going to give people solutions they're not even aware they want yet. So that's where the innovation part comes in here. But that's cover that a bit more in part 2, but go on. So what you do to get the Net Promoter Score, and this is digging deeper, is you take your group of people. It could be visitors to a website, people on the store, whoever they are, and you ask them a question, which is, would you recommend this company to a friend? And please mark this on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you really hate the brand, you'd never recommend them in a million years, you put a 0. If you absolutely love them and you're going to recommend till the cows come home, you're going to give a 10. And looking back at that loyalty satisfaction model, we can see along this curve, if you're going to rank 0, you're a terrorist, you're right down the bottom end. If you're ranking 10, you're an evangelist, right at the top. So we get that. And then we can rank people and say, right, well, you scored between 0 and 6, right? So that's where you put your recommendation part. You're a detractor. You're in the bottom purple zone there, the zone of defection. You don't like it very much. So, for example, Primark, I'm definitely in the detractor of Primark. And there's passives. So if you scored 7 and 8, you're like, yeah, they're good, I like it, I might recommend, but I don't really care. So for me, if I was going to say what I'm at, fashion brand that I would not really care about, Zara, maybe. They're okay, I don't really go for them, they're not bad. Then there's the promoters, so scoring 9 and 10, the ones that you're going to go, oh my god, this company's amazing. So if I was talking about Paul Smith, definitely that's a 10 for me because I love Paul Smith, and Ted Baker, definitely a 10 once again. You're going to have your own ones, either way. Then we step away and say, right, what percentage of people are detractors, what percentage are passives, what percentage are promoters? So the score is out of 100, I guess. So what we do is we take the promoters and we remove the passives, right? So we we take the promoters, we remove the detractors, and we ignore the passives. So if we had 30% of people were promoters, so they're going, oh yeah, I really love this brand. 20% are, oh god, I really hate it. And 50% are, it is there. They're passives. Then we'd say 30 minus 20, giving us a score of 10. So promoters minus detractors equals score. Now, so in this case, company is 10. That's not particularly high. And what we can do is we can maybe do this every single month, and we can see how a Net Promoter Score is changing over time. Or we can be very crafty and we can go and do a survey on the street, ask about our brand and ask about a competitor's brand. and we can do that over time, we can measure how our score is different to our competitors. Now we want to be on the high area. So people who are really strong promoters, the evangelists, they're going to have a pound sign against their name. So they're going to spend, on average, let's say £500 in store. That's quite good. We like promoters, we like evangelists. And detractors cost a company money because they're going out and telling people don't shop there. Them themselves are not shopping there. They're posting bad reviews online. They're not buying presents for their friends there. So detractors are an expense. Promoters are an income. So the higher your net promoter score, the higher your earning potential. So if we can say that we want to overtake our competitors, if we know their net promoter score and ours, then we can say right, we're actually quite far below them. We really kick our heels up, or we can say actually no, we're quite similar, but a little bit here will help. So you can do this by walking into a store. You can say, would you want to request a survey? You can do it online. Maybe visit a website. It'll pop up appears saying, hey, do you want to take a survey? That's all part of this. Now, this is a far better way of doing it than pure financial measures. So when I was working in Next, we put a new design on the website, and this was I can't remember what it was now. It was a few years ago. It was a feature about seeing the sizes of clothes, and not looking at any details of where there at all, but it was a really good bit of usability enhancement for the website. So that went live, and that weekend went live. Sales were hurt. Sales were down. And the CEO said, look, the sales are down exactly after you'd launched this new part of the website. Therefore, we're removing that feature and we're never going to put it there again because the finance was down. Now, what the other part he didn't realise was that weekend was bank holiday. Everyone was at home having barbecues in a heat wave. Nobody was shopping because it was such good weather. So the financial part of measures saying, we put this part of the website out, done this, or made these changes, doesn't tell you the whole story. The Net Promoter Score does tell you the way people feel and their potential. So if we put something out and the Net Promoter Score goes up and the finance goes down, we can say, okay, people are actually enjoying this more and would like to recommend us. The earning potential is higher. So why was the thing going down? Then you can get to the bottom of it and find out the root cause. Anyway, what you can also do is you've categorized people into three groups: the promoters, the passives, and the detractors. On the same survey, you can ask them things about why do you like the brand? What was it like when you walk into the shop? What things do you enjoy? What don't you enjoy? How's the online shop? You can think of lots of different questions there. And we've got data. Now, if we did that on a Likert scale, so on a scale of 1 to 5 is a good one to do, we can push that into some stats programs such as SAS or SPSS. I use SPSS personally. And we can say, right, do these three groups of people in the Net Promoter Score differ on their score for in-store experience? We run the stats and we say, yep, the detractors don't like it significantly more than the promoters. And the thing that they don't like the most is that when they walk into the store and they can't find a garment, there's no one to help them, they know where to ask, there's no anything, so they just walk out and they really hate that. So what we can do is we can think, hey, okay, right, let's put people on the shop floor that have iPads, they can check stock and say, we're really sorry, we haven't got that dress in store, but if you like, we can order one for you right now and it'll be with you tomorrow morning, and if it doesn't fit, free returns, just put it in the post bag and they're back. So you can actually say, right, we can discover ways to target these people. In next month we do another Net Promoter Score and we see it's gone up, and we can say, well, why has it gone up? How is this month different to last month? We're getting into quite deep analysis here that you don't need to know about, but just know that you can use Net Promoter Score to say, why do people like it more, or not like it more? When we put this change there, how has it gone in? It's a very good measure. So remember, the way you do it is 0 to 6 detractors, 7 to 8 passives, 9 to 10 promoters minus detractors, each with a score. Now there is a limit, a limitation. Now the mathematical problem is that it doesn't tell you everything. And the stories that come out aren't always that useful. So for example here, we can run a survey and 70% of people are promoters, 30% are detractors, and there's no passives. So 70 minus 30 equals 40. Right, so actually we've got a large people either love or hate us, so we're Marmite, and as most people really love us, that's a really good place to be. Turning it on its head, we've got 40% of people are promoters, got no detractors, and we've got 70% of people are really passive. Now, having no detractors, that's pretty good because there's no one costing us that because they're negative, but we haven't got many evangelists. So, and most people are just kind of, meh, I might shop there, maybe not. So, the first company could be Apple Computers, and that's kind of a company who has got great growth potential, great earning potential. The second company hasn't got the same earning potential as first. In fact, they're really stagnating because everyone doesn't really care about them en masse. So even though the Net Promoter Score is the same, it's not telling the same story. So don't take it as a one shot equals the answer, but it's a good way to understand people. The other part is that when people say they will recommend, do they actually mean they're going to recommend? I'm going to say, hey, I love Paul Smith. I'm going to give Paul Smith a 10. But does that mean that when I meet someone down the pub, I'm going to go, hey mate, you know what? You need a new jacket and you're going to go to Paul Smith? No, because no one does that. At least I don't. And so yeah, you take it with a pinch of salt. Also, Likert scales don't really... When you look at them the first time, you see from 1 to 10 is a straight line. You assume that the difference between 1 and 10, so 1 and 2 is the same as 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, etc. And also you assume that each number is the same to each person. And that's just not true. So if one person says, yes, I will recommend the brand, they might put a 6, meaning that they're a detractor. The next person, with the same thoughts, intentions and emotions, might put a 7, meaning that they're a passive. So that borderline has been crossed. They're in 2 different groups, even though they've got the same experience. However, it's okay because if we're doing stats on this, we're going to get large volumes of people, which means that the differences in society kind of even out over time. So as long as you've got a large enough sample and you continue to draw from the same kind of sample, it's okay. But it just means that the Net Promoter Score is a rough insight. It's not a science. You shouldn't use it as a hard edge, just like you shouldn't use financial income as the hard edge. There's lots of things to it. But you can see that this is one tool that if you enact, you can understand customers, you can understand the impact of changes, you can understand what relationship you have with the customers, and you can do the analysis part to really get into grips with what they do and don't enjoy. So the next part we're going to look at as a framework, moving on from Net Promoter, is the customer lifecycle. And I've really made this clear here. This is the classic marketing activity. So you'll see this in lots of different marketing books, referred to as this. So the classic marketing activities is we select our customers, we acquire them, we retain them, and then we extend them. So we target the right people. We understand what their values, what their life is, and we understand the ways that they do their shopping, the ways that they consume media. So by understanding our current and potential customers through the CRM, because remember CRM is also collecting data, we can know how to select our customers. There's absolutely no point in sending marketing materials for All Saints to an old people's home. They're never going to buy it. But if we target our marketing at teenagers or students, but that's even better. But if we say, rather than just students, what kind of students? What kind of lifestyle do they lead? What kind of things they follow on Facebook? Maybe what kind of celebrities they follow. So we target, we appeal to their values, we appeal to their lifestyle, we market strategically in the ways that they consume media, and then we reach them really well. We acquire them, targeting right areas, we minimise acquisition costs, and we optimise the service for them. Now this means that we're not trying to be everyone for everyone. We're trying to be, everything to everyone, because you can't do that. We're being everything to our primary users, our primary personas, which we'll cover in part 2 of this, the personas. So use the right channels and acquire them the right way. Make them go, wow. Years and years ago, to think of a different but similar context, Apple was dying. They almost folded as a company back in the 90s. And they were trying to appeal to everyone, and they just couldn't. And what Steve Jobs did is he went, look, we don't need to be number one. Let Microsoft do that. They can produce very vanilla products people use en masse, that's fine. But what we're going to do is produce the best experience for the people who like us. So we don't actually care about people, the detractors don't like Apple. To get back on our feet, we're going to make Apple the greatest computer company for the people who are likely to like us. It's the same way. I walk around Selfridges, and some of the stuff I see, I'm like thinking, who's buying this? Why are you doing this? Because I'm not in that category. But what you are doing is giving a great experience to the people in that area. Then you retain them. Make sure once they're buying with you, they stay with you. So give them relevant offers. So remember, talk about handbags. Give the offers of handbags to people who like handbags. Or people who browse for handbags, maybe. You don't buy them, but they browse a lot. That'd be a good target. So you maximise service quality. You really make the channels perfect for them. We make the individual needs exactly what it should be. So we keep them in, keep them loyal, keep them happy. Really chase the net promoter, okay, good. And then finally we extend. So we're responding to their needs, and we're cross-selling, we're upselling, we are optimising the service quality even further. So for example, if this customer demographic is buying lots of mid-range handbags, we could say, hey, why don't you buy this one luxury handbag? So we're upselling, we're getting them to spend more and more money whilst keeping them as evangelists. So select, acquire, retain, and extend. These are lifeblood of marketing. So very similar to that, we have the RACE framework. So reach, act, convert, and engage. So this is linking digital and physical. So thinking about how we are live chatting, is a great part. So real events communicated customer. When you go on your Amazon account, you can see where your parcel is, which depot, which city. When you call up, it's human interaction. Maybe you spend too long on a page, a thing pops up and says, hey, talk to someone. Anyway, the parts of this are reaching, acting, converting, and engaging. So reaching is building awareness on other sites and on offline media. So Facebook adverts, YouTube adverts, magazine bits. So we're going to find our unique visitors and audience share. Then we're going to be acting, engaging our audience with a brand, website, online presence. So what's the bounce rate, what's the page visits, what's page conversion? Then we convert people, get them to come on board. So achieve conversion to marketing goals such as founders, leads, or sale web. So look at our conversion rates, look at our leads and sales, look at our revenue. So these bullet points are really what we're interested in. We look at these things, the nitty gritty. And finally, we engage. So build customer and fan relationship through time. So really making the goal better. So looking at fan engagement, repeat conversion, net promoter score maybe. So the question can be, well, is customer lifecycle the same as race? They're not exactly the same, but they're very, very close. I'd recommend talking about both of them critically together. So having a closer look. So we've got customer selection, and we've got customer acquisition. We have reaching, and we have acting. So at the heart of it, what the reach part is a a happening of the selection. So building awareness of the sites and offline media. So we're being aware of who the people are. So then we're acting. So acquisition, targeting the right segments, minimizing costs. Acting is engaging the audience. Now you'll see here that the reach particularly refers to the online experience, the digital part, whereas the life cycle is more general. It can be completely analog without any digital parts at all. Let's see it here again. So conversion, achieve conversion rates, marketing goals is similar to understanding retention, right channels. Then we've got the extending, so responding, which is the same as engagement hurdles. So they are very, very compatible. The race is pretty much an enactment of the life cycle, but don't use them interchangeably. Make sure you highlight them separately. So the final notes to finish this off with is, if you want some further reading on CRM, there's additional materials in the Week 7 folder. The Customer Relationship Management is an online book you can see from the library. It's well worth reading. And there's those 2 papers there which are linked to on Blackboard. Any problems to get hold of them, just email me and I'll do what I can. So it's worth reading about CRM a bit further. And remember that you can contact me via Blackboard and email, or come and see my office for any questions. I hope that this video has helped you understand what CRM is a bit further and some of the measures, and I hope you have a good time revising, and best of luck in your exam.